What do you like most about petroleum retail?
The diversity of technology used.
What do you dislike most about petroleum retail?
The slowness. The way we change and transport ourselves. So the mobility is going to change. How will it change? Nobody can predict it precisely. Will it be hydrogen, EV only? Will it be another form? Are we going to be surprised by another way? If you are just keeping your own system closed, it's just not helping anybody. And I think that's what the future will be, that we will step by step move towards connected devices. That's my business. I'm an integrator. I like integration projects. That's what I like the most.
Welcome back to the R.O.O.F podcast, Running Out of Fuel, and we're at Unity Expo 2024. I have a couple of exciting guests, and the first guest is Michel Hinfelaar from HAIA Consultancy.
Yeah, thanks for receiving me.
Hi, Michel.
Yes. Yeah, Michel Hinfelaar, as you know, HAIA Consultancy is now existing for a few years, like 15, 16 years, but already in the business for more than 20 years. And always exciting to see new stuff here on Unity Expo. Lots of vendors which have been worked with in the past, so a lot of handshaking. But yeah, really great to be here. Thank you for inviting.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. And as usual, we'll talk about the trans industry. We'll talk about your personal experience. It's really great to have a consultant. I love talking to consultants. You know, we've got the previous episode, two consultants from the agency, and we're talking about some interesting things. And they brought some new insights. You know, something you never think about. Yeah. So it's always great to have someone with a broad experience and give new perspectives. Yeah. So if you're ready, let's give it a roll.
Okay. So let me first introduce you. So HAIA Consultancy, not only consultancy anymore, since I've been a freelancer for many years, working for different major oil companies, but also smaller oil companies, I started to rethink what I wanted to do in the future and what I like most. And that's really, technical consultancy, but also looking at new technologies, innovation. So I started thinking like, okay, HAIA Consultancy, HAIA technology. But I also noticed that, we are already 30 years in this business, in this industry, in automation and IT. A lot of people are going on pension or they are reorganized away. So I thought, but hang on, all this knowledge and expertise of this industry, it's very, very narrow. It's a niche market.
That's true.
So it's I still feel I'm still learning. And people are now saying, no, you're an expert. Am I? So I see it as a new business model, like, sharing the knowledge and experience. I believe in collaboration. And put things sometimes aside.
Yeah.
Proprietary protocols is not of these days. It's open protocols, sharing, interfacing, and understand True. That, me as an oil company cannot develop anything. I need a supplier, but the supplier also needs to open up and say, okay, it's not our expertise, not trying to do it ourselves. So either partner or take over a company.
Yeah, and the thing, we also talk about that in previous episodes. Being a supplier of something, of piece of automation, is not enough. You cannot change the world. So there should be a whole ecosystem that works and with the same goal. Yeah. It should be open. It should be integratable. Yeah. And this is the path to success, I guess, right?
And the fun thing of, for instance, startups, they have sometimes brilliant ideas, but they need to hook into something. Yeah, they need to hook into all the systems. They need to hook into new platforms. And if you are just keeping your own system closed, it's just not helping anybody.
Yeah. And talking about startups, so they might have some brilliant ideas, some interesting, new, fresh look into old problems. Yeah. However, they don't have this expertise, the one you've mentioned, right? So they can have a pair of fresh eyes trying to solve the problem, but they don't necessarily understand what's the problem. Yeah. So I think this is where there might be a good overlap and like a synergy between a startup mindset or bringing some fresh startups.
There are a few startups here on the trade show which are just entering this industry. They're coming from a different angle and different part, and they are really struggling to understand who's doing what, and where can I and this customer wants me to do this.
Yeah, but the good news, they have you, right?
They have me. Yeah, that's my business. I'm an integrator. I like integration projects. That's what I like the most. I'm not interested in long-term operational support stuff.
Boring.
Well, it could be exciting if something happens. Like, I've been in SWAT teams to understand why things are now suddenly, something has changed, but nobody knows where. I've become very knowledgeable about the end-to-end business needs, business processes, and why certain applications do what. So the end-to-end process is very important to understand what you're delivering into and what you're changing. But a small change can make a lot of problems.
True. All right, 24/7 challenge, 7 questions, and you'll have 24 seconds to answer them. You have to be super fast. Yeah. But we have a consultant in this episode, right? So it should not be a problem.
Right.
You're dealing with those things on a daily basis.
True.
3, 2, 1. Manned or unmanned?
A combination.
Cash or cashless?
Cashless.
Describe Unity Expo in one word.
The biggest and best event for this industry.
What do you like most about petroleum retail?
The diversity of technology used.
What do you dislike most about petroleum retail?
The slowness.
What's your superpower?
Human interaction.
Marco van Basten or Johan Cruyff?
Cruyff.
How much time? 29?
I don't like football at all.
Yeah. But everyone says that.
No.
You're the second person that don't like football in my show.
I like the European.
What do you like? What type of hobby do you like?
I like watching American football because I dealt with American footballers.
Oh.
I even was having a junior team, Dutch football.
Oh,
so
right.
Not real American football. I was doing track and field myself. So pole vault and sprinting. So I used my training experience with the American footballers to get them win a game rather than losing because they were just halfway, no condition.
So again, consulting, coaching. So
yes,
like
coaching. Coaching. I like coaching. I like to interact with humans. I like to work with young people, like students. Pick their ideas. They come with crazy things, and I'm like, why are we doing this like that? Why can't we do it like that? And I really need to dig in. So, and then sometimes you say, oh, that's a brilliant idea, or, well, hang on, you forgot about this, and that's what I like.
Not bad result, 29 seconds, less than 30. So that was 24/7 with Michel Hinfelaar. So Michel, you're pretty well known in the industry. Every event I go, I just see your face, and it's great. So how many contacts do you have in your phone?
Well, it's exploded in the last 2 years. Not only because I was already aware in the industry for a long time with major oil companies. I've been in tenders and reviewing the vendors, but then also making things happen and deliver to the network. Mm-hmm. So across all of Europe, I've been lucky to be working in Portugal, Spain, Austria, on sites, really. And I'm really a typical guy which goes out to the pilot sites to be there with a translator or not, but to understand what the pain is of the site staff, to really understand the business and the differences. And each market in Europe is slightly different. And I'm now using that to advise not only the oil companies, but also the suppliers, because it's certain knowledge which it's just built up in the last 20 years.
So what are the top 3 most common problems that your customers ask you to solve for them? If you make a top 3 inquiries that you get from your customers.
Well, that's a hard one, basically. Yeah, that's a good one. I do see a lot of, recently with the alternative energies, with LNG, CNG, hydrogen, most of these suppliers do not come from this industry. They are, specialists in containing gas, explosive, high pressure, low pressure, cooling systems. And they suddenly need to deliver this to a facility like a retail site. And then the most question, how and what do we need to do to connect to the site system? And can we do it indoor and outdoor? Yeah, of course you can. The technology is there, but sometimes it's not their decision to make. So integrating alternative energies like EV chargers in the future, I think it's just a matter of time that we will have to do it. And there's all kinds of very smart solutions to do that. And we don't need to do it physically on the site itself. In some markets, it's like, still prepayment. Portugal is a good example. The prepayment is born many years ago because of the dry faults, the frauds and the fuel thefts. And every time I come to Portugal saying, oh, why are you still doing this? Because we have other technologies which could avoid it. And, the user experience is also important. Why do you queue up twice? Where we had the same discussion in the Netherlands with the business saying, should we also do prepayment? So that's a returning discussion every time. How would like POS vendors entering the Portuguese market, but also the business there, should we still keep doing this, or should we move away and use other technologies?
And we the third one.
A third one. How can we connect to the dispenser?
As simple as that.
Yeah. You can
Someone
buy DOMs or something.
Doesn't know how to connect to the dispenser.
No, but they say, but this is old technology. It's LON or 2-wire protocol, or it's field bus technology, and we want to get real-time data. And I said, well,
in this context.
In that context, they want to move up. And I think that's what the future will be, that we will step by step move towards connected devices.
So most of those things you've just mentioned somehow relate to technology. So if you think about the digital transformation, it's definitely a journey, right? You can't do it in one shot. So what's the first step? So what do you think is the right first step for the company to start this journey?
Yeah, every company I always advise to first do a good inventory of what you have out there. Because you can have old stuff, but you can also have reasonable new dispensers or price pools or equipment on the forecourt, which you could, there are solutions there proven where you can get what you need. And then that drives what you need to develop. So I had what we were talking about before we started about African countries. They said, we don't know which protocol we would need to implement to make this happen. And I said, well, you're first doing a good inventory of what is out there, and that determines your strategy of implementing. I can say, oh, you should use the standards from HAIA or from Connexus, or you can use some good standards from the dispenser manufacturer. But a good inventory of what you have. And every project I've been doing, we always have a lack of the real information, it's out there. And the larger the network, the bigger the deviations are. And that's the biggest challenge. That's the fun. It's the puzzle to build up a project and start a project. So make a good inventory.
Time for our second game. And something we haven't done before. It's the first time. It's a premiere. So what we have? You're a consultant, right? And we have to use this challenge to stress you a little bit, right? So we have to do that. So what we have in the spinning wheel is various options of different type of the customers, depending on the geography, depending on the size, depending on the type of problem they have. And you will actually randomly pick one, and you will need to make a short kind of a pitch to us, assuming that we're this customer and we have a specific problem, and you need to tell us, comment, how would you solve that for us?
Or say, sorry, I'm out.
maybe that, who knows? And to make it even more fun, we have two more options in this spinning wheel. One where I choose anything I want from this wheel. Another one when you choose something you want from this wheel. Gonna be exciting. So
let's see if it works.
Let's give it a try. So tap to spin.
And tap to stop?
Yeah, no.
Oh, it stops. Okay.
Same.
Michel to choose.
So you can choose any of those you want.
Yeah.
So what's your pick?
Yeah, South Africa.
South Africa. Okay. So the case for South Africa is 20 stations in South Africa with a problem of introducing the forecourt automation.
All right. Yeah, that's interesting, because in the Americas and in Europe, we have been working on integrating, connecting devices. So even from the pump, we take the meter readings, we reconcile it against the sales done, so we can see if there's differences. And there's always some small differences, like in engineers doing a pump mode, but we can always recover and reconcile the total fuel sales. And also with shop, a little bit different case, but with forecourts, this is in South Africa something new. And we had this case, actually that's why I chose it, that retailers were complaining after we installed the new system in South Africa, where this out of the box was implemented. So without doing anything, which was standard, you connect the pumps, which are supported, to the forecourt controller, and automatically it gets the meter readings, it gets the sales, it gets everything is closed You can reconcile it. You can see with your red stock management everything where the fuel is going and for when. And the retailers started complaining, and they started investigating why. And it seems that, well, they always gave some fuel away for the family. And that's what I think is going to happen more and more in African countries, that the governments are pushing for really weight and measurements kind of implementation, validating what's going out there, and regulating that piece to close the loop and reduce the fraud.
So how much do I need to pay for you for this consulting service? No, I think you've nailed it down. I mean, it's interesting to see how different is the context, geography to geography and region to region. And again, what I said to my colleagues the other day, from the first impression, you think it's the same, but when you start deep diving into things, you understand it's completely different.
Even in Europe, and so many differences,
absolutely,
and evolvements which have been going through.
So let's give it another try. Let's do it once again. All right. Please, yellow. No. So close. Okay, 100 stations in Kazakhstan with the self-checkout, introducing the self-checkout concept.
Yeah, what's the challenge? I mean, I think there's plenty of solutions which can work, but yeah, of course, language, distance, it's the comms. I think getting your information down into it. I don't know the situation in Kazakhstan about telecommunication. That's a big challenge, even sometimes in Europe. To get good quality bandwidth to download this kind of and maintain those stuff. But otherwise, just you have to do it locally. But I think language is a challenge.
So your major problem with this project will be language.
Language, culture, no experience with them, so I'm just guessing.
But in general, if you think about introducing the self-checkout, what will be the first step? What will be the obvious step?
I think you always have to look at the formats you have in the site, in the shop. What's the objective? And you have to test out what customers are used to, like, in other retail environment. I had a case where we had the self-checkout in the middle when you enter, and everybody was walking past it. They didn't see it until they queue up, and then they saw at the other till, which was closed, and they had this turning screen, which was then the self-checkout. And that's where they went. They just skipped the one which was in front of them when they entered the shop. So positioning the self-checkout is a thing again, in the retail side.
A lot of details. It's not just throwing the concept and this is what can define the success of the whole thing, right? If you're not doing it in the proper way, every small detail, if you fail it, ain't gonna lead to success. Precisely. So that's exciting. Let's do it quickly. The third one. Tap it.
There we go again.
Awesome. Ilia to choose. Wow. So Kazakhstan was already there. So that was my my option. So maybe the one I really like is 300 stations in Ireland with a problem of growing convenience business.
And what's the problem then by growing? Because, it's all about what's the location size, what's the footprint, what's the location? Is it, urban or more on the road? Well, I believe that, growing your convenience at highway on important transit roads is really important for the future. That's where, we as humans still, when traveling, need to do a pause, stop, to go to the toilets, to eat something, to give the children ice cream, So I think convenience on highways is really important because people will stop anyway. They will spend time charging your car, will at least secure you for 20 minutes. But on local smaller villages, convenience could also be very interesting. Mm-hmm. Like there's a lot of shops closing in small villages, and you need to drive 8 kilometers to go to a supermarket. So convenience shops in local urban areas, and maybe then this concept of small size shop, self-checkout, a single person doing the day, filling the shelves, helping the people, and then during the night making it amends.
Depends on the location, multiple factors. But I would say I would be really surprised if someone from Ireland will come to you with this problem, because Ireland is the cradle of convenience retail in Europe.
Yeah, that's true.
So, Michel, you mentioned in the beginning something around a lack of or availability, accessibility to specific niche knowledge that you have to have to work in our industry or to be successful. Do you feel like there's a lack of talents in our industry in general?
No, I think there's plenty of very smart, skilled people. They either come from IT or from a business or data background, especially now with AI and machine learning. There's whole universities you're tuning on to educate these people. But then they come in and they need certain understanding of how forecourts are managed, how the business is run, and that's where people need to get educated for. And also, the old technology. If I get a technical informatica student and I need to explain him what a field bus is, then that's the gap they have. So they are skilled, they understand, but it's just a lack of knowledge.
So our industry, if you think about, again, I'm still on the talent question, we have to compete with other industries and other giants, with the Googles and Apples of this world, and Metas, etc. So what is the successful strategy for retailers to attract right people, to attract talented people?
Well, I think internship programs to onboard people in an early stage, to create a certain passion for this industry, because that's what driving me to this is the small passion of, you go to another country, hey, the feeling is different, hey, they do things differently, and the complexity of different technologies, from networking, software, embedded software, hardware, electronics. There's a lot of students which have that in, but then they are attracted to the big IT companies, and then they lose their foundation of the technology.
Yeah, but I think there was a dramatic difference or dramatic improvement in terms of the perception of our industry. 5 years ago, 10 years ago, that was something like, not so sure. It's hard to be excited about fuel or petrol in general, right? But now when we see how the industry is transforming to something else, with the convenience stuff, with the alternative fuels, I think everyone gets much more excited about working here, because this is where the real disruption happens. And in some ways, we're driving implementation of some solutions that will change the way the world behaves or operates.
So we know we have to change. The energy transition is really pushing. There's some deadlines put in by European law and by governments. Stop using the combustion engine. You can't buy it anymore by that date. So things will have to change, and that has an effect on how we do business in this industry. So that's the exciting part for now in the coming years, is how will it change? Nobody can predict it precisely. Will it be hydrogen, EV only? Will it be another form? Are we going to be surprised by another way? But the way we change and transport ourselves, so the mobility is going to change. So energy, mobility hubs, where you can offer different energy forms, but other services are becoming more important. And also that's where you make more money. The profit will not come anymore from the fuel. It's the expectation. The margins are small. The volumes will shrink. So you need to offer and look at each location out in your network, how to change it, transform it into something new, which could be either EV only with a nice cafe shop where you can sit and wait, or just where you park, take public transport or some shared service like bicycles or shared car, or so the thing, I think that there's a lot of retailers looking at how is it going to change and how I can make the right investment now to facilitate all of that for the unknown.
And no one knows the right answer. So it will be exciting to see how this thing will evolve in the next 3, 5, and 7 years. And it's really a privilege and a pleasure to be a part of that and drive it forward.
Yeah, I'm really pleased that I was part of the old world, learning a lot, and then introducing OPTs, contactless. And now, we see these nice shops with self-checkouts even more. And we don't know what is going to survive. But we've seen that a lot, especially on trade fairs. We see things being introduced and never seen before. We see it not back. And I think that's the beauty of this. We don't know where it's going. We look at the platform and see if the platform can, and then it comes back again, create open platforms so you can easily adopt you can easily make a proof of concept, pile it out, let the business play and see if they can make a business case out of it or not, and just rip it out again without any consequences.
Exciting times we live in. Michel, that was exciting discussion. Thank you very much. I enjoyed it very much.
Thank you very much.
We'll see you in the next episode.